Y'all, can we get into this book of Ruth real quick for a moment? Like I love the book of Ruth. Ruth is about 4 chapters. So if you all are not familiar with the book of Ruth or you need a refresher, go get your refresher because Ruth is teaching us something about loyalty. She's teaching us something about commitment. She's teaching us something about being open to God, teaching us something about what happens when we just allow ourselves to just be open to God and how you are rewarded. And one of her rewards for being open to God and being open to what her heart really wanted is that she got remarried to a phenomenal leader who had resources and, helpers and all of that type of thing. And so let's go ahead and get into it really quick. So we know that Naomi had a husband named Elimelech. They had 2 sons. And they wind up leaving their hometown, which is called Bethlehem, Judah, because a famine began to set in. And so Elimelech is just like, no, I got to take my family and we have to go to a place where there is sufficient amount of food to take care of my family. When they arrived there, their 2 sons married 2 women from Moab, 2 Moabite women. One of the sons married a woman named Orpah, and the other son married a woman named Ruth. Elimelech, unfortunately, he passed away, and at some point, the 2 sons passed away. Now there are 3 widows, right? So the daughter-in-laws, they were committed to just being with their mother-in-law. And in chapter 1, Naomi says, "Turn again, my daughters. Why will you go with me?" She wanted them to go to be with their own families. There are yet any more sons in my womb. I have no more sons for you all. I'm an older woman now. I can't give you any more husbands. Turn away, go your way, for I am too old to have a husband. And she wanted them to go be with their families, and she loved them. They loved her. This was their mother-in-law, one of their favorite people. And I can understand how that can happen. I've been married before, and so I know what it's like when you have a mother-in-law who is dear and near, and she's loving and she's filled with God, and you just want her to just be with you forever. It reminds me of probably the way that they felt about Naomi as well, that they just wanted to be with their mother-in-law. And as much as Orpah loved Naomi, she just was like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and depart. I'm going to go be with my family. I'm going to go back to my hometown and make sure that I am being taken care of. And she went off her way, to be with her family. And Ruth had an option to do the same thing, but she decided that she wanted to remain with her mother-in-law. And it's nothing right about that, and it's not necessarily nothing wrong about that. This was just her level of loyalty and her commitment to be with her mother-in-law. And in chapter 1, verse 16, it says, "And Ruth said to Naomi, entreat me not to leave thee." I don't want to leave, right? "Or to return from following after thee. For where you lodge, I will lodge. Thy people shall be my people, and thy God my God." That's Ruth 1:16. And then it goes to verse 17, where it says, "Where thou die, will I die, and there will I be buried. The Lord do so to me, and more also I ought, but death part thee." That nothing is going to separate me from you, mother-in-law, except death. Okay. And so that's what they did. They went on and they traveled about to Naomi's hometown of Judah, where all of her kinspeople were and the people that were familiar with her. She came home. They noticed that Naomi had returned back home to their hometown and things like that. But this time she came with a daughter-in-law, a gift. Like, I want to pause for certain moments. Like, you have a gift, right? Your sons passed away, your husband passed away, but God still left you with a gift. Like, I want y'all to catch this, okay? When we think we lost something, God still gives us a gift. And Naomi's gift was Ruth, okay? And so Ruth's commitment to her mother-in-law once they returned to Judah was to make sure that her mother-in-law was taken care of. And so Ruth, though she wasn't familiar with the community and the people and all of that, she navigated her way through the town, and she just was like, I'm going to go harvest corn for us and barley and wheat. I'm going to go figure out how to get this done. So she went into the fields where the other reapers were, and she made herself a part of the town, and she brought back foods for herself and for her mother-in-law, and the townspeople welcomed her. They didn't shun her. Come on, I want y'all to catch this. We know when the newcomers come sometime, we want to tell them what they can't do and that they can't be a part of this in your town and what you have going on. And so let's just be honest for a moment. Sometimes people that look different from us or act different from us, we like to shun them away. And that's not of God. God says in the scripture, all are welcome in my house of prayer. I am accepting their offerings. I am accepting their sacrifices. But us, when somebody looks different from us, we want to shun them. We want to ostracize them. We want to set them off to the side. Thank God that the people in Naomi's town was not like that. And so I want to fast forward. There came a point where a leader of this community by the name of Boaz began to ask some of his servants and some of his handmaids, who is this woman? And they began to introduce her. They told him who she was. She wasn't formally introduced to Boaz at that time, but he said they told him, this is Naomi's daughter-in-law. She's a Moabite. She's here, getting food and different things for herself and for Naomi. And so he was like, perfect, that's great. Continue to make sure that she's welcome. Give her what she needs, the corn, the barley, the wheat, whatever it is that she needs, and make sure that they are taken care of. There came a point where Naomi had returned home with all of her groceries, y'all. And she told Naomi that she had seen Boaz and the community had welcomed her. And Naomi had given Ruth some instructions that there will be a point where you go into the field where you will notice that Boaz is sleeping. I want you to take your veil and I want you to cover his feet. And when he wakes up and notices you, I want you to introduce yourself to him. And she did. And so fast forward, there came a point where Boaz decided to take on the leadership role as he was. And he went around the town and told the kinsmen of that town, hey, Naomi has some property from her husband that she is going to be selling. And I want one of you to purchase this land. And so they told him, hey, why don't you purchase the land? Because an inheritance of that land is that you will get an opportunity to marry Ruth. And so he decided to purchase the land. He married Ruth, which was really beautiful. And he said that, hey, okay, I'll marry her. And which was really nice. This was a gift now that Ruth received from God, that because she was open, she was willing, she now has her new husband who is a leader in this town. He has resources to be able to take care of her, to take care of Naomi. And it was just a beautiful story of what it looks like when we trust our heart, when we trust God. God is a rewarder of those that diligently seek him. God rewards us for our faith and our trust. And this was a beautiful example of that. And so I want you all to go ahead and check out the book of Ruth, 4 chapters, super duper sweet, short read. I love you all, everybody. Bye.